Deus Ex is a beloved franchise, and this is my first time diving into it. I plan on doing Is It a Classic reviews on this game's prequel, Human Revolution, and the original Deus Ex in the near future. Many of the other reviewers will hold this game up to its brother's standards and where it fits, but I get the chance to review it as a standalone game. Now before we begin, I need to address the elephant in the room. Microtransactions. If you don't know what a microtransaction is, then God bless you, because I wish I could be so lucky. Having microtransactions in a $60 single-player game is unacceptable. It'd be one thing if the game overcompensated with content, but it doesn't. More on that later, but let's talk about Praxis. Praxis is essentially an ability point, and throughout the game you get them by leveling up. Another way you can get them is by buying them, and while they're not necessary to complete the game, it feels like a slap in the face. While this implementation isn't that bad, if all games start to implement it, there's no doubt it will make games worse. It could mean the end of the difficulty slider as we know it, because why would a developer make a game easier if they could spike the difficulty and make you pay more to beat it, as is common in mobile gaming? All I know is we need to be vocal about opposing practices like this so they don't become any more mainstream than they already have. Because the microtransactions weren't necessary throughout my playthrough of the game, they won't factor into the grade I'm giving it. But if you are against microtransactions in games, your money is consent. With all that being said, let's jump into the game. This franchise is famous for having fantastic storytelling, so it surprised me that it's not the draw this time around. While not bad, the game tries way too hard to be smart when it's anything but. The dialogue is great, but the rest of it leaves much to be desired. Most of the characters are cliché with a few exceptions, and Jensen himself doesn't give us any glimpse into his personality. The whole story is a setup for future sequels, which wouldn't be so bad if there were more meat to the narrative. It's good enough to do what it's supposed to, but given the franchise history, it's very disappointing. The good news, however, is the game makes up for it with fantastic gameplay. There are many different paths to success, and each of them are very well crafted. You can choose a lethal or non-lethal playthrough, or you can go and go ghost by not being seen at all. You're presented with different options at every turn, and no one playthrough will be alike. The enemies are smart, and if you choose combat, it'll be difficult. But stealth is very rewarding, and I highly recommend playing the game that way, even though I personally couldn't keep myself hidden at all times. No matter which way you play, you're going to really enjoy yourself. And personally, I value gameplay over story. The reality is that storytelling in gaming still has a long way to go, and even though there are a few exceptions, most won't compare to the storytelling of mediums like films and novels. The most unique facet of gaming, and the reason we play, is the gameplay. The world and level design both work very well together. While I wish there was more of it to explore, what is present here is utilized to the fullest. The sci-fi dystopian vibe is pulled off very well, and sometimes you stop and marvel at the world building and environments. Overall, I enjoyed the game. The gameplay clicked together really well, and the story, while overly complicated, did its job. Unfortunately, before I could take in what I experienced, the game ends. I thought for sure the game would expand into something else, but the stakes in general are very underwhelming, and the game ends in a very disappointing way. It was like watching a summer blockbuster. Yeah, it's fun, and when it's good, it's really good, but it doesn't leave you with much afterwards. The game is much better at refining game mechanics than innovation, and that hurts its classic potential and makes a good game kind of forgettable. Hey guys, VaporBro here, and now it's score time. So the way we're going to be doing scores for non-classic video games, or at least most of the video games not being considered for the classic, is we're going to be doing a traditional grading system. So that means the best a game can get is an A+, and the worst is obviously an F. This game in particular is going to be getting a B. It's a great game, but it just lacks what it takes to be a true classic, and to be a true classic you have to at least be an A-, usually an A. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys look forward. Please be sure to like, subscribe. Any support you can give me, I greatly appreciate it, and it'll guarantee more videos like this. Alright, so I hope you guys have a great day.